And we focus in this khutbah about the deeper meaning of 6 of the most important rites of Hajj and Umrah. The first one is the state of consecration for Ihram. Ihram is not a matter of what you should do or you shouldn't do. Ihram is an expression of the complete servitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, a reminder of our relationship with Him, to have the intention to devote oneself fully during these days for the worship of Allah in the middle of all the hustle and bustle of our lives. This is actually in compliance with the warning that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us in the Quran, in the ayah whose translation of meaning, don't be like those who forgot Allah, so He made them forget themselves. Indeed, those who are deviated from the true path. Ihram also is an intensive training as to how to live in peace with other creation of Allah, to avoid unnecessary disputation of vulgarity, as the Quran has reported. Whoever goes to Hajj should avoid all those disputations. Ihram actually is also a training of how to protect the environment and the coexistence not only with humans but with all the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is why the person in the state of Ihram is not allowed to hunt animals, land animals, nor is he even allowed to pluck a tree, a leaf even from the tree is not allowed, and there is penalty actually for doing that. The second of 6 lessons is the 6th commemoration of going around the Kaaba, about which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran, this is the first house on earth that was made or built, meaning built for the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the house that was built by the patriarch of monotheism, Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, for the sake of worshipping only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the only Allah, the creator of the universe. The commemoration also stimulates the laws that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created in this world. There is always a center, and there is dynamic movement around that permanent and stable center. We find that all the way from looking at the atom and the electrons and protons all revolving around the center. We see that in the solar system, that there is a center also. We see that all the constellation and the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is in the physical sense, but it has implications for us also in the moral and legal sense. So is the Sharia of Islam and its approach to life. There is a center that we cannot tamper with. We cannot change according to people's whims here and there and what they think. These are the issues that relate to the basic beliefs, to the correct way of ibadah, to the moral teachings of Islam, to the general guidance in political, economic and social, family, communal life in Islam. We cannot tamper with this, otherwise Islam would be just fluid as anyone can think of. These are permanent, but that's not rigidity, because there is always this dynamic movement, just like people going around the Kaaba. There is change, but that is the process of ijtihad, and ijtihad is bound by a certain orbit and a certain axis. Then there is the sa'i, the third one, the hastening between the hillocks of Safa and Marwa, simulating the steps of Hagar, the mother of Ismail alayhi salam, the son of Ibrahim, the first son of him. And this actually is honoring motherhood, because that hastening was for the sake of looking for water to save her baby from what appeared to be a certain death. So it is honoring motherhood. It is a lesson of putting one's trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, a lesson of not despairing from the mercy of Allah, the certitude that truth shall prevail even though it might take time. That applies also to our life today. It is not an ancient life. There is a deeper meaning for that for us. If we look at our contemporary situation and see Muslims in various parts of the world, not only the Muslim world, in the world at large even in countries that preach everybody about human rights and non-aggression and respect of the rights of others, Muslims are being exposed to all kinds of oppression, all kinds of aggression, confiscation of the rights. The examples of that are so many, are well known to us and to people of good conscience of any other faith community or no faith even. Muslims today should not be pushed because of those glaring and severe oppression and aggression that they lose their mind and respond to wrong by another wrong. Two wrongs do not make one right. Let them remember the promise of Allah Ta'ala. If indeed they abide by the conditions of victory that the Quran says, Allah says actually in the Quran, that's a direct address. Allah says, we indeed will give victory to our messengers and to the believers, not only Muslims, and to the believers in this life and in the hereafter. The fourth lesson is standing on Mount Arafat, in the middle of that ocean of humanity, from all colors, ethnicity, nationality, all in the very simple throne of Ihram that reminds us with true overarching human brotherhood, equality before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It reminds us with our earthly journey on this earth, our resurrection in the day of judgment, where there is no salvation except by true and correct faith translated into righteous deeds, and above all, by the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for our deeds are not even enough to enter us into paradise. The fifth is the sacrifice of animals, not only today, but also in order Eid days. This reminds us with the iman and certitude of Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, his trust that he put in Allah when he tested him by commanding him to sacrifice his only son Ismail alayhi salam. Neither he nor did his son hesitate or waver in obeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Neither of them hesitated in offering their dearest thing to them, more than money, more than power, more than position. Your own son is the apple of your heart. That was a test. And Ibrahim's test was A+ with distinction, both he and his son. And that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala finally replaced Ismail